They called it the sub-city. Buried beneath the bustling streets of the old metropolis, the sub-city was an engineering marvel. Its inception came at the height of the global resource crisis, when cities crumbled and surface populations scrambled for stability. The idea was radical: a completely enclosed underground city, powered by geothermal energy, fed by vertical hydroponic farms, and designed to outlast the chaos above. Constructed deep within a labyrinth of industrial piping and reinforced chambers, it was a self-sustaining ecosystem. An artificial sky ceiling mimicked the cycle of day and night, casting a perpetual golden haze across the city that never truly slept. It was both awe-inspiring and surreal: sunlight without a sun, rain without clouds. The engineers who oversaw construction had marveled at the ease with which the lower sectors could be carved. The rock gave way with surprising consistency, almost as though a path had already been made for them. In their excitement, they paid little attention to the old geological records, papers yellowed with time, noting strange voids in the bedrock, unusual soil disturbances, and signs of large-scale subterranean burrowing. An entire network of hollowed passages had been discovered during the initial dig, vast and reinforced with naturally fused mineral deposits. Perfect, the architects had said. Less work, less cost. They never questioned why the tunnels were there in the first place. Silas Renn, senior infrastructure engineer and member of the city council, had always felt uneasy about that. He'd reviewed those original geological surveys in his apprenticeship, noted the strange fossilized remains embedded in the walls, the organic scoring along the ancient tunnel curves, but he, like the others, let the dream of progress push caution aside. Silas was respected not only for his meticulous knowledge of the city's mechanical systems, but for his calm demeanor under pressure. He had spent over 20 years ensuring that the sub-city ran without failure. Every valve, seal, and exhaust system bore his fingerprints, at least metaphorically. He worked closely with Mayor Alina Voss, once even tutoring her on early city systems when she was just a junior liaison. The first generation of settlers had been volunteers, engineers, architects, farmers, doctors. They believed in the dream of a better future, but their children and grandchildren were born into a legacy they never chose. Most knew of the surface only through old stories and faded images, passed down like myths of gods and oceans. Despite the lack of sky and wind, life in the sub-city was considered safe, efficient, even comfortable. Streets were lined with fragrant food stalls, powered tramlines glided silently between residential domes, and community centers buzzed with activity. Children attended learning hubs, citizens shared meals at communal tables, and festivals of light and harvest punctuated the artificial calendar. For decades, peace endured until the banging started. Silas was in a routine maintenance meeting when the reports came in. Deep resonance along the south sector, one technician said. At first, we thought it was thermal expansion, but it's patterned, not random. Could be equipment cycling, Silas offered, but even he didn't sound convinced. The sound was too deliberate, too rhythmic. Over the next 2 weeks, reports of cracked foundations and strange pressure fluctuations began mounting. Maintenance drones sent into the utility access corridors either stopped transmitting or returned with torn casing and corrupted logs. Why are they torn? Silas asked during one late-night council meeting. He looked exhausted. These drones operate in vacuum-sealed corridors. Nothing in those pipes should be able to do this. A young engineer, Freya Lang, slid a report across the table. We found mineral scoring, deep, curved, like something tunneled up and sheared the casing. Are you saying something is moving through the walls? One counselor whispered. I'm saying, Silas interrupted, that our foundation is compromised, and if it's moving toward us, we need to prepare for more ruptures. Then came the first one. It occurred on a warm cycle morning over Market Street. A pipe above the central plaza burst, spewing superheated steam. It cut through stalls and bodies alike with equal indifference. 27 died, dozens were maimed. Emergency crews worked nonstop. Silas, furious, met with Mayor Alina Voss and the council. It wasn't a spike, he said, slamming a tablet on the table. Look at the data. This system doesn't fail without warning. Mayor Voss looked pale. What are you implying? That something's stressing the infrastructure. From outside. The room fell silent. Weeks passed, then another rupture. This time in the East Wing, a family of 5 was vaporized. Silas led a probe into the failed section. What he found chilled him. Gouges in the pipe metal from the outside in, a collapse behind the burst, soil turned, compressed, as if something had moved through it. They were building on an old burrow, he remembered. It had been dismissed in early construction. Now it felt less like a coincidence and more like a warning ignored. A distress call was sent to the surface. When a crackled reply finally came, it only confirmed their worst fears. "We can't help," the voice said. "We're sending calls too. Something's happening here. The city above is failing." Despair set in. Families sheltered in place, the streets emptied. Mayor Voss delivered a citywide address. "We are doing everything in our power," she said. "We are resilient. We will endure." But Silas hadn't seen her for days after that. Then came the maintenance sector collapse and the school district, biodomes. Silas scoured infrastructure maps, looking for reinforcement plans for forgotten tunnels. He gathered Freya and a small team and tried to trace a path away from the destruction. "What's this junction?" Freya asked, pointing at a map overlay. "An old logistics route," Silas replied, "part of the original dig. We abandoned it after structural instability, but it follows the old board, doesn't it?" Silas nodded grimly. The next morning, a report arrived. Mayor Voss had tried to evacuate through that same tunnel. It collapsed. Her body was found days later, crushed beneath the tons of rubble. Silas stood in her office afterward, surrounded by silence. Dust lay on every surface. A data crystal blinked softly on her desk. He activated it. A log played, Voss's voice shakier than he remembered. "I lied to them," she said. "Not about our chances, about the beginning. We didn't build this tunnel system. We refined it, enlarged it. The original bore was already there. My father, part of the original planning team, found fossils, giant armored creatures, extinct, we thought. We built here anyway, static. Then recovered. Drone footage flickered onto the screen. Dark tunnels, mineral walls, movement. A hulking, glinting shape sliding through the earth with terrifying ease. "God help us," Voss whispered. Silas turned off the crystal. The lights dimmed, the pipes groaned above, and somewhere far below, the banging resumed. Days passed, then a week, maybe more. No one kept time anymore. The banging didn't stop. It grew louder, angrier. Then came the crash. A tremor shook the city, worse than any before. Walls split, support beams snapped. What remained of the artificial sky flickered violently, then went dark. The golden haze was gone, replaced by smoke and red emergency strobes. And then they came. Silas saw the footage first, replayed from one of the few surviving maintenance drones. The shapes were massive, like the fossil husks they'd unearthed during the city's founding, only alive, armored, and hungry. They moved with terrifying efficiency, their claws ripping through steel and piping like parchment. The sub-city didn't fall quietly. It screamed. Metal shrieked. Steam burst from every wound. People ran through the corridors, some trying to fight, most simply fleeing. What remained of the population splintered into scattered groups, trying to reach the maintenance shafts and abandoned survey routes in the outer tunnels. Some used old mining lifts, others crawled through damaged vent lines. Every step was a gamble. Silas moved with a small band, engineers, a pair of medics, and Freya Lang. Their route took them through the eastern aqueducts, half flooded and unstable. At night, when they dared to rest, they heard the creatures moving in the tunnels behind them, the scraping, the thuds, and the screams. Freya caught a glimpse once, just the edge of one, watching them from a shattered corridor. Its eyes glinted orange in the firelight. It didn't follow. Not then. Each day their numbers shrank, crushed under debris, pulled away screaming, one by one. Silas led them deeper into the forgotten bones of the city, toward the oldest passageways, the ones nobody had ever mapped. They didn't talk about survival anymore, just about distance. Each meter away from the central collapse was another second of life. Eventually, they found a pocket of silence, a chamber lined with abandoned equipment, half a communications node, broken terminals, water dripping rhythmically onto concrete. The group rested there, barely breathing. That night, Silas stayed awake, hunched over a half-functioning console, trying to send out a signal, anything. The ground trembled again. Freya stirred. Do you think anyone made it out?" Silas didn't answer. Another crash echoed through the tunnels. Closer this time, the lights above them buzzed, then popped. Darkness, footsteps, wet, heavy, approached from the tunnel behind them. Silas reached for the signal relay, and the screen went black. To this day, no one knows if Silas Renn survived. Some say the final signal from the sub-city was corrupted code. Others believe it was a voice, whispered, distant,